My foot got chopped off by a skill saw. Cut through the first 4 metatarsals completely and 3/4 out of the way of the last metatarsal. I snapped all the tendons, cut through the artery.
You went to the hospital, they did do surgery and stuff? Or?
Yeah, I was in surgery for I think it was 7 hours. And the doctor I had told me, I'll give you whatever you want, as much as you want, but you have to come to my office and you leave here with the prescriptions. So I just took pills and it just sent me down a bad path. I was 19 years old. I was just doing what the doctor told me was okay.
So here with Kru Ed and Coach Ryan at Teep Studio in Scottsdale.
Eat, teep, sleep.
Eat,
sleep, teep.
You know, what's funny, remember the ring in Colorado?
Yeah.
Shout out to Oscar Martinez. So we're out here for the tournament, and we're just like, hey, let's get together and record a podcast. You could tell by the voice for anybody's listening. And Ed's voice too, I'm sure, from young.
We've been screaming a lot.
Yeah, a lot for the past couple of days. And if you're watching this on YouTube, Adam is here from Out of Step Art. He's out here as well. So shout out to him. Yeah, but if you're watching, you're tuning in anywhere, make sure to hit the subscribe button for all Muay Thai content that we are putting out. Just keep trying to push it. If you're listening, make sure you guys subscribe. We're on all the podcast platforms. Share this with your friends. Remember, you can always submit questions to the Pu'u Muay Thai Podcast as well that we can address on here. What is it, day 2 of the tournament right now? We just finished day 2.
Day 2. Tomorrow's the finals.
Finals day tomorrow. So we
both got competitors in the finals.
Yeah, I got Brian Almontes from Ventura, and then we got Eamon, right?
Eamon Quinones Smith.
Quinton.
Quinton.
They spelled his name Quinton first. So we were talking a little bit before too, Ed and Ryan's martial arts. I was wearing this shirt that's actually designed by Adam, our friend Scott.
Sick art.
Judo master. So it's on here. It's pretty dope. But we're talking a little bit about your martial arts journey and stuff, how you got started. And I only know a little bit about yours actually.
Yeah, so I'll be able to explain it a little bit, the origin stories.
Well, so then how did you get started in martial arts, man?
The first experience with martial arts was obviously like a lot of us 90s cartoons like X-Men, Spider-Man, and Street Sharks, and all the
I remember Street Sharks.
Friendly cartoons.
Oh man.
That had these superheroes and action figures fighting each other, and I wanted to do that, and so my mom and dad got me into a karate class.
Mm-hmm. Where was this at?
This was in it was kind of by Alvarado, downtown LA.
Downtown LA.
Yeah. And I started taking this class at the studio, and my first class, I remember the kid punched me in the face. I was 5 years old.
Shit, and bare a fist?
Yeah, bare fist, and we were doing 1-2s in
Yeah.
front of each other.
Supposed to have
and we're
distance.
5-year-olds.
Yeah.
And then I did a 1-2 in the air because that was the sign what the teacher said, and then he did 1-2 to my face. And I remember being like, oh man, maybe this isn't for me. As a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this isn't for me. But
different times in martial arts back then, right?
Oh, and the floor was all marble floor.
It was marble floor.
Yeah, we didn't have any
not even hardwood.
Not hardwood.
No carpet.
Floor. It'll hurt your feet.
So the instructor was he
I don't even remember who he was, to be honest. It was I think maybe probably a volunteer instructor at the time.
Oh yeah.
Just helping inner city kids and teaching them karate.
So you getting punched in the face. You're 5 years old. What was the next step?
Did
you show back up, or did you tell your mom and dad I want to quit?
No, I definitely wanted to quit after that experience, just because I was 5 and I'd never been punched in the face like this. But I stuck to it for a while, and then afterwards, I stopped doing martial arts because of club soccer and basketball and all the kid sports you do in the summertime, and then I revisited martial arts in the beginning of high school, the end of middle school. I started doing taekwondo, and I really got good at that. I excelled at it.
So how old were you?
I was 14, 15, 16, and I stopped around 17.
Damn.
But I did national tournaments, Olympic qualifiers, junior Olympic qualifiers, and I loved it. I could head kick, I could spin kick, I could wheel kick, like kicking was like all it was about, you know.
Yeah. So Luis Reyes from Sean Yakubian's academy, did you ever have a run-in with him? Because he was big into the Taekwondo scene.
Oh, this guy, I never fought him or saw him.
But you never saw him, no.
But, you know, I only did it for those 3 years, really. And then I moved on. I remember I had an experience where, like, I had just upgraded from belt, because the belt system went by pretty fast.
Yeah.
Like, within a year, you could be a black belt. And we were in a good competitive school. But, like, if you did the requirements, which were somewhat impressive, like you spar the teacher and, like, you would break boards and you would know your kata and your
breaking boards.
Karuki. Yeah, I mean, like, it's funny now, but, like, in the moment as a kid, like, as someone that was into
so
it.
Powerful.
Yeah, and there was one where, like, we had, like, 5 people, like, kneel, and you ran and you did a jump side kick.
Over them.
Broke 2 boards.
Over them, right?
Yeah, over them.
Yeah.
And the whole thing was, like, if you stepped on one of them, you're out. You failed the test.
I remember seeing a demo like this, like when I was in elementary school from like a Taekwondo school.
Yeah,
it's like, whoa.
I was in a demo team. I had a red gi. I remember that being really cool because I was a big fan of Street Fighter. So when I got my red gi, I was like, I'm in.
Yeah.
You know?
How old are you?
That was like at the end. Right now?
Yeah.
37.
37.
Yeah, 37. Yeah. So it's been a while.
Yeah. So then, Ryan, you got started in Santa Maria, right?
Yeah, I remember like watching Rocky and thought that was like the coolest thing ever. And I always wanted to fight. And then get into martial arts and I wanted to be those guys. And then I had some friends. We were kind of like the bad kids, always getting in trouble,
fighting
you know?
with each other too.
Yeah, fighting with each other. And they started doing judo. And like, oh, you should do judo. And I remember thinking, if I don't start now, these kids are going to be able to beat me up someday. Because at the time, I was like, no, I could take them all.
Yeah.
And then I was like, man, if they train and I don't train, they're going to beat me up. And so I went home and I was like, Mom, can I train? She's like, yeah. My mom always forced me to like be involved in sports and do things outside the house. So I started doing judo. Everyone from Santa Maria was at the Minami Center way back in the day. We're talking like late 80s, early 90s probably.
90s, yeah.
And there was a guy there teaching judo. I had no idea what judo was. And the guy was actually like a 8th Dan from Japan.
Japanese guy, right?
Yeah. At the judo academy there. Slips my mind, but yeah, I remember. But he was from there. He was like a big deal, and I had no idea what I had, you know?
Yeah.
And so I trained there for a while, and I was like a bigger kid. I was like the little chubby kid. And so in judo, it was hard for people to throw me, and I had good balance. So
perfect.
I was just tossing everyone, and it got to the point to where the instructors, I was probably going too hard, not because I was a bully, but because I didn't want to lose. And I have students, I recognize that in now. The same traits.
You see that, right?
I see it.
It's
and
like they're wanting to push.
identify with it. Yeah. And so I would have to go against, he would put me with all the instructors. And in judo, you don't wear a rash guard. And I remember there is this one Israeli coach, I think he's from Israel. And he had like a full on like bearskin rug on his chest.
Like just like the full on like 80s rug.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's like coming out of his gi by inches, you know? And we didn't wear rash guards. And so they would throw me and end up on top of me. And I go home and I'm picking out chest hair from my teeth for like hours after training, you know? And I'm like 12, 13, 14 years old. Like, it's not the time you want to have a grown man rubbing his chest hair all over your face, you know? So I trained for a while, then kind of got into playing high school football. One of the guys I trained with actually owns a judo school in Santa Maria now. He does taekwondo and judo out of there.
Do you know what it's called?
You're
gonna have to find that.
Santa Maria Judo.
Santa Maria Judo.
Yeah, and Santa Maria Taekwondo.
Okay, we'll find it. We'll put it in the show notes and stuff like that too, because it's good to know the connections.
If you scroll way back on my story or my Instagram, you'll see a picture of my judo instructor. And like I was saying, at the time, I had no idea what like an 8th degree black belt was.
Like
judo.
what that meant.
Yeah,
right?
what that meant. Then later on in life, I started doing jujitsu, and I'm like, I wonder who this guy was. And I started looking him up, and
He was the
I
shit.
had no idea what I had when I had it, But he was old school. Like, he didn't mess around. I remember one time I was choking this kid, and he reached down, he bit my arm. What? And I tried to pull my arm away. It was this kid, Mossy. He was like, he always tried to beat me, but he couldn't.
So he bit you.
So he bit me, and I just started punching him in the side of his head as hard as I could because he wouldn't let go of my arm. And all I see is my sensei walk in. You boy! I was like, oh shit. I just like dropped him, like, oh shit, I'm in trouble. And he pointed to the center of the mat. I was like, okay. And I walk out there, and he threw me. He turned on the timer, and he threw me for like 2 minutes straight. I didn't want to get up. He would pick me up, throw me again. And like, when someone knows how to throw you and ragdoll you, like, even if you know how to fall, you're still gonna get slammed.
That shit hurts. Yeah,
that shit hurt. And then I walked away like, whoa, I messed up. But it was something. Even though I wasn't in the wrong, I didn't have control like I should have. I don't know. It's hard though. If I was doing jiu-jitsu and someone bit me like that, I don't know if I could.
If you'd react any
hold
different.
back and not punch him,
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a great, like, going back into that, were you guys training on mats or what was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
you guys
had
little
the
mats.
old school tatami. It wasn't like the blue mats nowadays.
Yeah.
They were like the straw mats.
Yeah, the
They were
old
like
tatami.
the old school tatami mats.
The old
yeah.
Japanese ones,
Yeah.
right? That like burn your feet and everything too, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy because like
And the floor was corked. So it was like a raised floor that had corking underneath it, and then those mats go on top of it.
Oh, so they did like a traditional setup.
Yeah,
that
he
was in there.
didn't. Yeah,
He didn't fuck around.
No,
he was
he
doing
was
it right.
serious,
He's like,
yeah.
this is how we did
Yeah.
back where I was from. This is how
Yeah.
we're gonna do it here.
yeah.
Dude, that's crazy.
That's a trip that you say that because I never thought about that.
But the training, the
About
floors.
the mats. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen these before. Like
Yeah.
some places still have them.
They still have them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like very rare to see it. I think there was like a karate place that was in it. It's no longer there. It was in Little Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
They had that, and
They were good.
it was a
though.
Kyokushin karate place, and they had those.
Yeah.
And they were. I remember seeing them like, whoa, what kind of mats are those? Like, oh, those are like old.
Yeah.
Very old.
Yeah.
But that's like talk about the evolution of combat sports and
Yeah.
equipment, right? You go from
Right.
where you weren't wearing gis and stuff like that too, and
nobody really even knew of judo back then either. Like,
no. Well, it's like, but then you get people like, was it Gene LaBelle?
Yeah,
Right? So
that's true.
who was doing the wrestling and stuff like that too
Yeah.
on top of it.
Yeah.
So it like, it's kind of like there's like, was it catch wrestling or something like that?
Yeah.
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 So it kind of like had that blend.
The blend of it.
And then I feel like Pride, like when they had like all the wrestlers and stuff like that, the judoka and stuff like that, and Pride Championship, because a lot of them are professional wrestlers.
I do remember that. Yeah. I do remember that.
So you went over to football.
Yeah.
And
So I
then-
played football.
Yeah.
And that kind of like trying to be like the cool kid, always going to parties. I was on the football team. I was like chasing chicks, kind of like took me out of that like martial arts path and like
Got you
sent me a
distracted,
completely
right?
different direction in life, and that direction went to some dark places. you
Yeah.
know?
Well, like with martial arts, right? Like I wonder if like you'd still be doing martial arts had like you stuck to it then. I wonder
Yeah.
that about myself too. Had I started martial arts when I was a kid and my parents let me, would I actually be doing like would it
Still
be here?
doing it,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So I stopped training, kind of went down. I cut my foot off with a skill saw. I was at work, and
No, sorry.
the saw kicked back on me and cut my foot off the skill
How old
saw.
were you?
I was 19.
Mhm.
19 years old. Yeah, my son was just born. I just graduated high school. My foot got chopped off by a skill saw. Cut through the first 4 metatarsals completely and 3/4 out of the way of the last metatarsal. I snapped all the tendons, cut through the artery. It was crazy.
You told me this before, but every time you tell me, I'm just like, oh.
It was crazy. And the guy he goes, Zach, go to the storage bin, get me the first aid kit and duct tape. Like, what do you mean duct tape? And he just shoved gauze in my boot and wrapped my foot like it was a leaky pipe, and he stopped the bleeding.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It was crazy. Through
And
an
then you
artery
went-
too.
How like you went to the hospital? They had to do surgery and stuff. Or?
Yeah, I was in surgery for like, I think it was like 7 hours.
Oh shit!
I woke up halfway through, and
What's going on?
he's drilling through my foot to put the pin in, and I like. My eyes open up. I go, please don't tell me he's drilling. And the doctor like stopped. He got like surprised I woke up.
Oh.
And he goes, are you okay? I'm like, yeah. He's like, can you feel that? I go, no, kinda. As like, it feels like a drill, but it doesn't hurt. And he's like, okay, just put your head back down. You're all right. And then I went back out. And then the last hour, I woke up right as they were sewing my foot back together. And like I could feel the needle, like it didn't hurt, but I could feel like the skin pulling. It was such a weird feeling. Damn. And then I go, am I gonna be able to surf again, Doc? And he goes, I don't know. Can you surf? Were you able to surf before this?
Yeah.
And I remember going, haha, very funny. And I put my head back down and crashed back out. That kind of started me down a path. This was like in 99.
Mm-hmm.
Back in like the opiate epidemic, right? Where like they were giving you opiates, like
you
they were
could get pain
Skittles.
pills. Like it was. I saw that there's a movie that was about this. I saw it, and they were talking about how much like they had these reps that go out. They get pretty girls. They get the doctors all drunk.
Yeah,
and they'll give them pills, dude. And they're just like, oh yeah, just give these. There's samples. You can just give them out.
Give them out.
And
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So the doctor I had, it was a workman's comp thing, and the doctor I had told me, I'll give you whatever you want, as much as you want, but you have to come to my office, and you leave here with the prescriptions.
Oh shit.
And I was like 19 years old.
You're like,
I was partying,
okay.
you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, not partying, like I was injured, definitely, but I couldn't do anything but take pills, you know?
Yeah.
So I just took pills, and it just sent me down a bad path.
Yeah. So that was like opiate addiction essentially
Yeah.
started. But a lot of people went through that, man.
And that's the thing. Like, I was 19
lot.
years old. I was just doing what the doctor told me was okay.
And this is exactly what this documentary did, because they actually they documented stories. It was obviously fictionalized, but it was based upon stories that happened for actual people.
Yeah.
It was people. One of the guys got hurt on his job at like his auto shop. A car fell on him.
Uh-huh.
And it was just same thing.
Changed
It
the
was
life,
just, but the
yeah.
doctor told me what to get, right?
Yeah.
And then it was just they show how it progresses and stuff.
Yeah, totally. Mine progressed gnarly because I was on workman's comp, and then workman's comp ends, but my drug addiction doesn't know I'm not on workman's comp anymore, you know? So then what are you going to do? Feel sick? You're going to be sick for 8 days? Like,
And going to work.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't working at the time.
Yeah.
So it progressed to the point to where I'm homeless on Skid Row, and I'm doing a lot of dumb stuff to feed my addiction, you know?
You're on it. So like I know this, but it's pretty big. You know, so you were living on Skid Row, LA.
Yeah. Yeah, I was homeless on Skid Row.
We just like live like when
Burned
you
all my bridges. No one wanted. Everyone
Were
that.
you there? Because I worked in a warehouse a block away from Skid Row. I worked in a warehouse a block away from Skid Row, so
back then at that time though.
yeah, like 2000 and maybe.
I was like
10.
2000. I've been clean for 15 years now. So.
Oh, so you're like 2009, yeah. So
Yeah, it was
close.
Yeah, it was around that time frame. It was around that time frame.
Yeah, it was a trip because I remember one of my coworkers came one morning and he was kind of teary-eyed.
Mm-hmm.
And this old lady, she's like, hey, what do you have? And he goes like, oh, this is just my breakfast. And he kept walking because he would walk through Skid Row to get to the warehouse. And the lady, the older lady, she runs and takes his bag with his breakfast. And then he turns around and he looks like he says he was going to do something, but then it's like, you know how many homeless people there are in Skid Row, and he looks around and he goes,
It's like, fuck it.
He just walks to work, and then she screams at him, "That's what you get!" And I remember it was just like the story that I remember from Skid Row.
Skid Row's crazy,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
It's pretty nutty.
Dude, when you were down there, like were you like is like just like have like a what am I thinking, like sleeping bag? Like what do you?
So I found an apartment on 7th and San Janky, like right there in the Flower District, you know? But I came to a point where I couldn't pay rent. So all I had was my car. I was in my car. I would spend some time there, and then I would go back to Santa Maria, wear my welcome out there, do whatever scumbag stuff I needed to do at the time, you know?
Yeah.
So I was staying there in my car. It started to get real bad. I had a friend that went to the Dream Center in LA, my cousin. Mm-hmm. And so he kept telling me, go to the Dream Center, go to the Dream Center.
What is that? What is the Dream Center? Like a rehabilitation
It's it's a Christian rehabilitation program. Like it's the old Queen Evangelist Hospital. Mm-hmm. So the original hospital in downtown LA, they bought it or something, and they have like a whole outreach program where they have like drug and rehab. They have emancipated teens. They have like a single parent floor. Just a lot of different programs that are helping out a lot of different people. And he kept trying to get me to go there. And then one day I was running and gunning, doing my stupid stuff, and I was running from the cops. And I remember hiding in this bush, and I see the cops like walking around looking for me, and I'm hiding in a bush. And I was just praying, God, please, please save me, save me, save me. I felt like someone told me to turn yourself in. And I'm having this argument with myself in my head, like, no, I want God to save me. What do you mean turn myself in? I want him to save me from that. And then the more I was like arguing with myself, the more I was like, well, this has got to end sometime, you know? Like, you're either going to end up dead or you'll be in prison. So, like, turn yourself in. So I pop out of the bush and I'm like, here I am, guys. You got me. And they were like, they didn't even know, like, they were like, wait, who is this guy? Like, is this the guy we're looking for? Like, they thought I was just joking around at first.
Yeah, you were so upfront.
Yeah, because I was just like, here I am. You guys have been walking around for 2 hours. Here I am. And so I went to Ventura County, and I was in Ventura County, and it was a 3-day weekend. I don't know how religious everyone is, but I didn't get seen by the judge within my 72-hour time frame, so they had to kick me free.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
like they fucked up.
Yeah, so I basically they dropped the charges. So
yeah, because they couldn't, because you didn't have your chance to go.
Yeah,
the judge.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't get the due process, right?
Wonder who the DA was. He's probably throwing a freaking fit.
Yeah.
Like, what happened?
I ended up having to go back to pay for it after I got clean. I went back and handled all my legal issues, cleaned that up.
So like getting clean, like how'd that end up happening? Was that?
I just got tired of having to chase that dragon, you know, like waking up sick and having to maintain that.
Like to do something to not be sick. Right?
Yeah, to like feed that addiction, you know.
What do they call it? Dope sickness?
Yeah,
something?
and then my son also, so back up like 6 months prior to this, my son told me, Dad, I don't want nothing to do with you until you stop selling drugs and you get a job and you become a normal person again. So that sent me... Fast forward 6 months later, I'm in Skid Row beating up a guy because he's trying to take my money. You know what I mean? So I'm like
talk about tradition, right?
Yeah. So it sent me down like a spiraling path. And after I got out of jail, I got kicked free. I had 3 days clean and sober. So I was like, man, I can't go back now. So I called my cousin and was like, hey, at this point, I'm done. I'm out of jail. I've been clean for 3 days. I don't want to go back out to the same people I was hanging out with. I need to hide, not because anyone's after me, but because I'm not good for myself.
Yeah, you're going back to
same
that.
thing.
Yeah.
So I stayed at her house, and then I got a hold of my cousin, and he got me into that program. And it was like they couldn't get me in right away. It was like 2 or 3 weeks later. It was on Halloween. I checked into the program, and I was in for a wild ride for 6 months.
Oh, fuck.
It was rough. It was rough. I was so sick. I would say for like a year straight, I wasn't able to get like a full night's sleep because it was just like...
constant, like your body's all messed up.
Yeah, your hormones and everything are all screwy, you know? So it took me like a year to like start to feel myself again. I was in the program for 6 months. And then I got out of my program and I said, okay, so I'm clean and sober now. Now I need to handle my legal issues. And I went and turned myself in. I did 6 months in Orange County. And then now here we are today.
Shit. Then you got back into martial arts.
So yeah, thank you. Let's bring this all back together.
Yeah, where this ties in.
So I got back. I was living in Carpinteria.
For those that don't know, Carpinteria, California is between Ventura and Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
Yeah, for those that aren't familiar with like the Southern California region.
And so the reason why I ended up there, this is a funny story. So my dad, who basically my mom and him split up when I was 6 months old, got remarried to someone. They had a family. And when he got remarried, he basically said, I have my family, you have your family, good luck in life. Then at this point now, six months after my program, my stepmom, so my real dad's ex-wife, calls me and tells me like, oh yeah, we're going through a divorce, this and that. And then she said, you can come live with us, stay in Santa Barbara. And at that point, like, nobody was putting their hand out for me because I just spent like 15 years burning every bridge I could find,
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, I'll take it. I stayed with her for, I want to say like a month. And then I made the decision to handle my legal stuff. And then I did 6 months. And I came home and she let me stay there. I stayed there for like another 2 months, I think, and I got my own place. And in that time frame, I met, I was kind of like, so I get out of jail and I come back. I'm clean. I'm not doing the same shit I was doing, but I was drinking a lot. I was going out to the bar, like just getting drunk.
A couple times a week, essentially. Yeah.
Well, more than that. More than that. But I started seeing myself hang out with people and put myself in positions that like I'd already made it out once, and then at the bar I used to always go to, I met Kru Mark. And Kru Mark's from Hawaii, and I started talking to him. He was wearing a UH shirt, and I started talking to him. Yeah, my family's from there. And then I come to find out he teaches Muay Thai. He trains Jiu-Jitsu. He told me he had a guy in Ventura or Oxnard that he was training for MMA fights, and he's come train with us. It's like I would love to do that. So I go and I start training, and I would leave there like the closest thing I could find to that rush of when I was using. I would get that when I'm sparring.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I started going like, oh man, this is the healthy, like
this is the
healthy drug.
Yeah.
And I want more of this. Like, and then I looked around all the people that I was sharing the mats with, and they were all people that were trying to better themselves. And, they weren't just happy with where they were. Like they were always looking for improvement. And I thought, well, if I'm going to stay sober, these are the kind of people I need to surround myself with, and trained with Mark. Felt like I tried to be a sponge for everything he said,
Was that when you trained Sam or Jake?
Jacob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think I just met you around that time.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
When I got first.
Well, before that I had boxed. I had done some other stuff, but I'd never like
just done that.
Yeah, and I was kind of always like
1 foot in.
Yeah, 1 foot in, not like. And now at this point, it's like, hey, if I commit to this, like, I'm gonna find myself in a better situation than I am right now. Mm-hmm. And so it was like searching for that healthy rush, that adrenaline rush. And yeah, I haven't used since. I don't really even have urges.
Yeah.
Never did like AA or like any of those programs.
Yeah, just hit rock bottom.
Surrounded myself with people on the same path,
People wanted for self-improvement and stuff like that. And what's crazy is, for those that don't know, it's like now you have business.
Yeah.
You're doing this.
Being a dad.
Yeah.
It's my husband.
Family and all that stuff, man. Mm-hmm. Team leader, everything too. It's kind of like stark contrast, like from what we see, like the state, right? Because we see all the time people on the street. It's like, hey, man, like people who don't know this story. Right, they may not understand that you really know this story. Yeah. Like, you really understand this from literally from the ground up, right? And I think it's one of those things that like me and you talked about. It's like, yo, dude, like you said before this, you're like, maybe it's time. Yeah. So like this is like
I'm not one to really like tell my story, like, because I feel like it's something that is like, it's heavy. So the more you tell it, the like lighter it gets. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like when someone needs to hear it,
that's when
I'm quick to tell them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But just like, hey, look at me, I'm clean, I'm sober, I do this. Like,
you
that's
don't
not
make that your identity.
Yeah. No. That's not who I am.
It was the same thing when I was plant-based. I didn't make that my identity.
Yeah.
But
some people, I feel like you said, they make it their identity. Like that's all they are, and it's like, yeah, it's a big part of who I am, but
that's not who you are. Yeah.
That's not who, like, I'm not pigeonholing myself to just being that, you know?
Yeah. Well,
If it's someone that needs to hear it, I have no problem telling it. But
yeah. So I sometimes I meet people and they tell me the story. I'm like, you should try and figure out his stories. I don't tell him. I'm like, maybe he'll tell you.
Yeah.
There's like, what is it? I'm like, oh, maybe you'll find out.
Yeah.
That's something.
Here it is.
Yeah. So, you know, kind of going into that, you know, it's like now, and you know, I met you through Kru Mark, right? So before that, I was in LA. And that's where I met this guy.
That was right. Yeah.
Right. So, you know, Ed, I'm gonna swing it over here real quick. So, like, tell him about like how you ended up training Muay Thai.
Oh, it's a weird story. Well, not weird. It's just like I gotten out of college. I dropped out of college because I didn't find it interesting and I didn't have a sense of direction. And then I started finding really shitty jobs like that I would just do for like.
You said you were selling like GameCubes or something like that.
Yeah, like I was selling, like I was working in a warehouse by Skid Row, selling like GameCubes and like Wii Fits.
You guys are
for a
both
while.
on Skid Row.
Yeah.
You know the hustles of going out there.
I was just there's every week there's a different story. Just walking by there is pretty interesting. But yeah, I was just trying to make money and trying to figure out some sort of happiness. You know, I was very like depressed after dropping out of college. I mean, and I didn't have a sense of direction, and I was just going from job to job, barely making ends meet, and I just, you know, I was living with my parents at the time too, and. Ironically, like my friend, coworker who had stopped, he was an alcoholic before, and he just stopped and he was like, "Hey, I found this place, and this guy, he's really awesome. His name is Knockweed. He gave me like all the history, a little bit of Knockweed that they had in the pamphlet. Do you remember that one?
The Muay Thai School USA pamphlet.
Yeah, the Muay Thai School USA pamphlet. Then they had a book and stuff, and he told me, he's like, "Yeah, you should come down and try it out." And I hadn't done any martial arts or any like physical activity for about 4 years, so I was in for a rude awakening. But I went there, and I thought it was gonna be really good, and I was horrible. It was horrible.
Who was it that you met? Who was it?
I forget his name. He was an old coworker that introduced me, but you know, he got fired at one point, and then so
you lost contact with him.
Yeah, I kind of lost contact with him. I had a little bit of contact on and off throughout the years. Yeah, no, he didn't get fired from Knockweed. So sorry, going back a little bit, I was working at a parking lot. I was a parking lot attendant, and we would take shifts. So we did like morning shift, I would do the afternoon shift, and it would be a night shift, right?
Gotcha.
The gym was a block away.
It wasn't even a block.
No, it was across the street.
It was next door to the parking garage.
Yeah, next door. So just going, just walking a little bit south, and you would find it. And
so that's where the coworker that you met was telling you about this?
Yeah, so he did it for a month, but I paid for a year in full. They had a special. It was like I think it was $9.99 for a year.
I did the same thing when I started Muay Thai. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, it was like that $9.99. Or it wasn't that. I don't remember what it was. But it was like, hey, that's special. Like, yeah, I want to do that.
Yeah,
let's go.
Commit.
Yeah. I want to do this.
Yeah, so I put all my savings there, like that I got into this shitty job, and I just put it in $9.99. And I remember like wanting to quit after the first month because my ego was hurt a little bit how bad I was. I threw a kick, I couldn't turn my hips. I threw a punch, there was no power, there was nothing, you know. So I was a little like hurt by it. So if it wasn't for that year commitment, I would have left that month, I think.
That's why everyone leaves at first, because it's too hard for them and they're not as good as
the
they
ego
think.
is just like...
Well, dude, that's what happened to me. So I went there, they had a 1 week trial. I went there, and it was like, we know better now, right? Not to go throw somebody in sparring when they don't have their equipment, and they don't even know how to like keep their hands up, right? So they had us do that. I threw up, I had a bloody nose, I cried, and I was like, I don't want to go back. That was like the last thing I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I remember I talked to my pops. He's like, "This is what you want to do, right?" He's like, "You should go back." I was like,
You thought he was gonna give you a pass?
No, I didn't know what he was gonna do. I was just gonna share. He's like, "You should go back." I was like, "Okay." So I went back, and you're like, "Oh, you're back." I was like, "Hell yeah, I'm back." I went for a couple days. Then I left for the rest of the week. I didn't finish the week, then I came back and I was with my first trainer, Fred, who passed away. And it's the same thing. He's like, oh, I didn't think you were going to come back. Like, it didn't seem like the example of somebody who's going to like stick to the shit, right? You know, we see all the time. You can like, some people, it's like, hey, maybe they'll stick it out and they can like make it happen. But like the volume of people that we've all met, right? It's like you get a pretty good read on people and what their habits might be, right?
Always the ones that I think aren't going to stick it out are the ones that are always, they stick it out.
And they're the most consistent.
Yeah, totally. Always. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny that you say that your dad said that, because it only takes a few words sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, I have people that are fighting now, and all I said is, where you at? Let's just text them, where you at? And then
they're in.
They're gotten to a point where they're so good at what they're doing and they love it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's what's crazy too is like the power of that. What is very funny too is like my dad would normally be like, yeah, well, sure, why are you doing it? Mm-hmm. You know, yeah, don't go. So it was like the one time it was like, you should go back. Guess I was meant to fucking be there, right?
Yeah.
But you know, because I remember when you worked at the parking garage, and I would come up with Roy, Rick, and like, man, I'm spacing on his name. Boren, and one other person. By the way, Boren's in town next week.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, right now it's May 11th, but next week he's gonna be in LA and stuff too.
Oh,
I think he might come up to Ventura. And man, I'm forgetting it and spacing on his name right now. But I remember us like seeing you like, hey, come train and stuff like that when you were there and everything too. You're like, yeah, I'll be there later. You know, after work and stuff. It was crazy, man, to see it like how that all came around. And then like going, you know, working with Ryan and then working with you, you know, now you're working with the academy. Like I remember driving out here to Arizona and talking to you for like probably 2 hours.
Yeah.
About like coming out. I'm like, hey, because this was like right at 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right out of COVID. And you and me were both in Europe.
Yep.
Shut down.
I remember we were in the same time zone.
Yeah, so we were talking once in a while.
I remember he's like, oh yeah, my friend Ed from, where was this?
Muay Thai school.
But he was living in Switzerland.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Your friend Ed that lives in Switzerland that's from here? You guys are both out there?
Yeah.
I thought that was Strange.
Well, yeah, because Ed's wife is from
Switzerland. Yeah. I always got in those like unique situations from like martial arts. So it's one of the things that I really loved was like I went to like Korean church for a while, but like I had no like I didn't
Korean church.
Yeah,
you're
like,
not Korean, bro.
Yeah, but all my friends were like not Korean at the time, so I was like, "What are you doing in Korean church?" I'm like, "I don't know." Like my dad told me to go attend, and so I went. You know, like,
yeah, that's right. We gotta go. That's crazy, man. You know, going into that too is like now we're in 2024. So like we're all you met your wife in martial arts, yeah?
I did.
Yeah. And then you have a daughter. Yeah, you met your wife in martial arts and stuff like that too. And to see how Muay Thai has evolved, like I never thought we'd be doing Muay Thai like this, ever. Like I thought for sure it's like, hey, working warehouse job and doing Muay Thai in the evening or something like that. That's why I thought that's how it was gonna be.
Yeah, to me it's been quite special. Like, you know, I grew up in a neighborhood like by Alvarado that's really small, and a lot of the people live there, go to jail. A lot of the families don't have a father figure. You know?
Yeah.
It's just like not Compton. It was Alvarado. It's like I lived in Loma, so it was like Alvarado and a few blocks down, going towards downtown. It's Loma.
Yeah.
And then there's another block that was, I forget the name of that block, but it was just one of those places where like you never see anything. Like you just see like your neighborhood, that block. And that block.
Yeah, you don't go outside.
Yeah, you don't go outside of that block. So it's like you don't really see that much. And I remember when I started doing martial arts, even like Taekwondo, when I got good, like all my friends were like, you know, Korean, and like they were introducing me to different stuff that I never experienced, and like, you know, I had a trip planned to go to Korea because I was competing so much. Yeah, you did
Taekwondo and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and then I did Judo, and then that opened up like a different door to me, and I did boxing. I was in Santa Monica, so like I always traveled for martial arts, and I always kind of like made something out of it, you know. When I found Muay Thai, like it took me to Thailand and
trained with Buakaw.
I trained with Buakaw.
That was the only time you went to town, right? Yeah.
He put it on the live too, so it was cool. He was really cool.
I have a story about that. So I'm sitting there and I roll over and it's like I got like a push notification from Instagram. It's like Benchamek Gym is live, and this is like not too long after he just opened up that gym when he broke away from Porpamuk. I think it was like a year and a half later. And it was him sparring some guy with this floppy like black hair around. And I'm like, who is this guy? Who is this guy? And then I realized, oh shit, it's Ed.
That's funny.
I'm sure I could probably go back and find that footage.
Yeah, I have it somewhere too.
It's on the internet.
That's
so it has to be there. But yeah, it was Ed sparring with Buakaw, just smiling, having a blast. I'm like, oh shit, because it was like 5 a.m. our time.
Yeah.
Right? And I think I was getting up to like teach my 5 a.m. class, and I saw that.
That's sick.
Yeah, so.
That's sick.
I remember that being the first time I did light sparring.
Oh, that was your first time doing it?
Yeah, because we used to spar quite hard and.
You don't want to go hard.
I won't say, but like I remember that was the first time I was starstruck and struck by a star in Muay Thai. That's all right. Just like yeah. I was really like just playing with him, and I was like, yeah, like he fought in K1, and I grew up watching him, and I was like, wow, like can't believe it. Like, and he looked at me, he's like, hey, you come here, and I was like, okay. He's like, put your gear on, just like let's move. Or like,
yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I was like, oh man, like.
Were you at the gym? Like, were you training there?
Yeah, I was at the gym. I was training there with Buakaw. Gotcha. Superbomb was there hitting the pads.
Okay.
He's a pad man with the long hair at the time. He was like holding. He do a lot of catch pads. He would hold everything, and it was the first time I'd seen that. I was like, man, this guy's so like. So good with the pad work, and I was just like, I was so impressed by the consistency of the strike as well. At the time, I hadn't seen that very often. There's a few people I'd seen it with in America, but very rarely.
Yeah.
And I was just, I loved it. Like I fell in love with the culture of Muay Thai in Thailand, and even then, like it gave me the courage to like tell my wife's parents when I first traveled to Switzerland. Hey, my wife is pregnant. Like, like just little things like it like just opened a lot for me. Like, that's and cool. It gave me a lot of different experiences. And, now I'm like fluent in, Spanish, which I was expected to be, English, which I was from with like speaking English, of course. And then I can speak French as well to a certain extent from it. Like, it's just like.
You can speak French?
I can order. I can like, I can understand,
Okay. Say, I speak French.
Je parle français.
Okay.
Falo português?
Um pouco. Oh, sorry.
Eu não falo português. And Ryan, your wife's from Brazil.
Yeah.
We were just down in Brazil.
We all just got back from Brazil. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Like, going into all this stuff, like, had you not met Mark, you wouldn't have got back. We wouldn't all be in this room.
Yeah. If I would have met, I would probably be in prison or dead, know. That's how I think of it.
Is I did not met you. Like Ed, like if you hadn't gotten to Muay Thai, like
I may have not gotten out of that environment.
Like being just in that neighborhood.
Yeah, just in that neighborhood, and like that neighborhood, like a lot of things that weren't so good.
I can't see you with the face tattoo, bro.
I've seen it, man. Like, it's interesting how life happens. Like, it wasn't something that I necessarily chose, but it just happened to be something that I felt like I had to follow. Yeah. Like,
and the fortitude, like, you learn from martial arts, like, helps you.
Oh yeah, I felt like I could fight.
Get out of that.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I'm not giving up.
So
makes you realize you have control over what your life, right? Like, is very empowering. I think for a lot of people, like we've all talked a lot about this. Like, Muay Thai, martial arts, that really empowers like a community, and like I see it in Santa Barbara, it empowers the people there. I see it in Ventura. I see like you go to any like Muay Thai academy that has like a good solid program. Good communities, everybody there's like empowered to like better, like you said, better themselves
and be a better person for the people around them.
Yeah, and lift because hey, if you go up, then and I go up, and we just keep going, right? And it just keeps improving, and looking forward to seeing what the next 10 years has in store. She's like, oh,
10 years,
dude. Yeah, you're gonna have a 10-year-old, bro.
Maybe I'll be here 10 years from now with my son.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Dude.
Could be.
Yeah. You don't know.
I had a 10-year-old compete today, so.
Yeah.
Like, could happen 10 years from now.
Yeah. Yo sentió.
Yeah.
But you put it out there, you never know.
That kid's gonna be raised in the gym though. I fully intend to be teaching class with him on my back, and then in the ring in a playpen, hanging out, playing, being around people, punching and kicking.
Yeah, I think it's a great environment.
Pick it up good.
And I think it's also a great environment for kids.
Yeah, it is.
You know, to be around that and like, you know, not only like self-defense and like being confident with it, but just like the type of people that are in like the amount like of quality people and like a good community, because it takes a village, right?
Yeah, people that want to keep being better people, you know, people that keep looking for improvement.
That's a good example. Very good example. You know, it's like your daughter trains too. So cute seeing her grow up, man.
Yeah, she's very cute, and I'm very proud of her because she's always been very charismatic and welcoming to other kids.
Yeah,
and at the academy, she always makes friends. You know.
Yeah, she follows the rule number 1.
Yeah, rule number 1.
Say happy anniversary. Hi. She always
says hi. Yeah.
I think she beats me to even like. I'm usually pretty good about it, but she's always like, hi. I'm like, damn it.
When you started working there, was that when you started bringing her to the gym, or did you take her with you to the gym at other places before that?
No, she was the day that Lula, my wife, she gave birth. I held pads for her, like in the afternoon. For your wife? Yeah, the day that she gave birth. In the afternoon, I was holding pads for her. And she was a vegetarian or vegan at the time. She wasn't eating meat at all. And then she goes, after pad work, she goes, hey, let's get some Wingstop. I want some wings. And I'm like,
you're like, what?
I was like, okay, let's get some wings. I want to eat some wings. So I took her to get some Wingstop, and then she's like, we need some something for our feet when we go in the shower so it's not slippery. Let's go to Target. And then I was like, all right, let's go to Target. And so we bought this mat. And as we're walking to the parking lot to the car, her water breaks. It's not like a little water break. It's like a flood.
Yeah.
That shit's going to trip me out.
Yeah. And actually it wasn't in the parking lot. It was in the car, now that I remember. Because I remember... Like it went out, and I was just like, it was hit me in the back, and I was just like, what the? And I just like, she goes, my water broke. I'm like, yeah, okay. We need to go to the hospital. She goes, the doctor said that I had a few hours before I have to go to the hospital. If it doesn't smell, does it smell? And I'm like, I guess it doesn't smell, so you're good. So. Long story short, we rush home. We get all our stuff. We had like a prepare kit to go to the hospital and spend time in the hospital.
Oh man,
we get.
I'm laughing at your facial expression.
No,
for anybody that's listening, guys, like.
I hope she appreciates me saying this story. But
I'm like, oh.
But
this is the first year on the Pu'u Muay Thai podcast.
But when this happened, like we had the house prepared for that that could happen. So we got like our preparation kit, our bag, and we went to the hospital straight. She just took a shower because she felt just kind of dirty. Yeah, she took a shower, and then we went went there, and she gave birth 6 hours later.
Oh, that's fast.
Yeah, she did it pretty fast. Yeah, I remember my car staying overnight, all wet. The interior.
Oh.
Yes.
Did it smell when you got back in?
Hollywood Presbyterian was the hospital in 2018.
2018.
Yeah, 2018.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, with that being said, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. Whoever watches this. And if you're a mother, happy Mother's Day. If you have mothers, happy Mother's Day to your mothers. Yeah.
Word to your mother.
Word to your mother.
So did it smell, I guess, in the car afterwards?
I left the windows open, and mind you, I'm in Hollywood Presbyterian, which is kind of like an open parking lot. So I was like, man, someone's gonna break in my car, take my stuff, or the car seats are gonna be rotten by the next day. Like I was
which way?
So I opened it a little bit, and then I was like, in the morning, she gave birth. 6 hours later, it was like 11. So probably like at 5 a.m. I went down. I'm like, hey, like I stayed with her for a bit, and then I went to go wash my car, and then I came back, and we're in the hospital for a few more hours. And
What a good husband.
Yeah,
it was.
you gotta clean that.
Yeah.
It would have been worse if I wouldn't have.
Yeah.
Then she would have been going home in
Yeah, you can't bring your daughter home in a dirty car.
No. Well, hey, this has been dope.
Cool.
Hey,
Yeah,
Thanks for.
been a good weekend.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to spend the rest of the weekend with you guys and stuff and see how everything goes. They can follow, obviously, Ryan Pu'u Muay Thai SB and RU_down.
Are you down?
Are you down?
RU_down. It's people are like, why is RU? But it's basically my initials.
Yeah. And
RU.
Are you down?
Yeah, and then down. So
Ryan Ughoc's down, man. And what's your Instagram? Is it still private?
I believe it's public again. So I'll double check, but it's right now it's Edward24EX.
I'll make sure to put it down in the show notes and stuff like that.
Awesome. And I'll start a Muay Thai Instagram.
Yeah, you can do it. Yeah. We'll talk. Man.
Yeah.
We'll get it. But man, thanks for coming in. And I know you drove out here with Riley and Brian. You flew out with Coach Alex.
yeah,
He didn't want to come today, huh? He's tired.
yeah, he's need to get his beauty sleep.
Oh yeah. He's got to continue looking good tomorrow when he's in the corner, right? Well,
He's in the AC in the room chilling.
Yeah,
he said he's gonna go in the pool. Actually,
like-
we should go jump in the
Yeah,
pool.
that's what I'm excited for right
that's a
now.
good idea, right?
That's a good idea.
Well, hell yeah, man. Well, hey, anybody out there that's watching too, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Go follow these guys. If you're listening to, remember to leave a review on the podcast. It helps. Like every little bit of like exposure on this stuff helps for everybody because it's like it helps. I'm really grateful you sharing your story and stuff like that too because it's really fucking amazing to see people turn their life around like 100%. Right?
100%.
And to be doing this kind of stuff that's like this really transformative work for people through martial arts.
Yeah,
It's very inspirational, man.
dope. Thank you.
I don't mean to get all soft, but
Just want to tell you guys, keep fighting, don't give up. Sorry. Keep fighting, don't give up. It gets better if you keep working.
yeah, if you don't give up, you win. Right?
Mhm.
All right. Take care, guys.